one of the things, I mean, I know that when you were there, I mean, the idea, it was not a novel idea, the idea of, like, getting Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage. When you were there, obviously, and Roddy Piper, all those guys, I know that there were periods where you had feelers talking to them and things like that, and even direct meetings with Piper and Savage. I don't know about Hogan. And the ultimate thing was that in that period, the Turner organization was not willing to open the checkbook. And the one thing Eric did that you get to credit him for was his ability to convince people to open the checkbook and sign. Because I know wasn't there a period where you went and you had a meeting or close to a meeting with Savage, and then they just really and Piper too, and they really wouldn't back you with the dollars to make the deal?
Well, I think with all due respect to Petrick, and he's still a friend of mine, but he was the stumbling block, and I think he misread Turner, what Turner wanted to do. Jack Petrick was known as if it isn't paying off, give it to Jack, and Jack will make it pay off. And his success in some of those endeavors with Turner Home Entertainment and some of those were very successful. He turned them around into money-making entities. Once we cleared the hurdles of the Crockett's and the contracts and existing contracts and all, then of course, I mean, I used to go to venues, and Hogan would wave at me, because I would sit way up in the top seats, and he knew where I was sitting. And of course, the meeting we had with the other guys, we had various meetings with them, but it turned into a thing like, you can't take a guy that's doing so well in a venue like New York and bring him to Atlanta and sit down and then embarrass him with an offer, which is what Petrick would do. And we had him, walk out of meetings, and Petrick and I got into a hell of a fight over it, because I wouldn't go to any more meetings with him. I mean, I would not sit down and try to entice Randy to come to Atlanta and then give him an offer that was ridiculously low. So, it kind of fell on deaf ears. And you're right, though. I mean, we kept trying to make an entity make money, and under Eric's leadership, I don't know who he convinced, but and of course Eric is only interested in Eric. I mean, regardless, Eric's not a team player. But I mean, this show's not to say, hey, let's beat the hell out of Eric. But I hired Eric when he hadn't had a job in a year, so as an announcer, and primarily I hired him not because he was a great announcer, but because I was having troubles negotiating a contract with Jim Ross at the time. Ross was going to hold me up, so I hired another young, fairly good-looking announcer just to tell Ross that, well, if you're prepared to go all the way, then I will too. Now, in retrospect, I certainly didn't want to lose Ross. I think he's very good. Even did a good job on XFL the other night, and has proven over the years that his ability to sell guys and sell angles and stuff is probably unequaled in the modern day wrestling era.
I just got the Ross report here. I'm just checking if there's anything big here. He's got a lot of stuff, but it's mostly, let's see. China's book, If They Only Knew, is doing very well and seems to be very popular with female readers. I know my wife enjoyed it.
How about that?
How's that for that one? She did too, by the way.
Ross, I've noticed that Ross has not once praised that book.
Backhand. He's sort of on TV when he plugs it. He has, yeah, but not on the Ross report. He hasn't. No. Says Tajiri has not signed a contract, but is expected to do so this week. Actually, Tajiri signed a piece of paper, but they haven't got it yet. Because I remember I got called when he signed in. Jerry Lynn's contract should be waiting in when he returns from his current road trip. I wonder when he will. Let's see, he's Thursday. Let's see, Jim Ross's schedule. Thursdays and Fridays, he's interviewing players and coaches to get ready for the Saturday games. Then Saturday night he's got the game. Then Sunday he's got to fly to where Raw is. Does Raw on Monday. He's never around. Let's see. Look to the cat right to censor issue to escalate next week and to have presence at No Way Out. She's going to do something at that pay-per-view, isn't she, Brian?
She's going to be naked.
I know. Paul Heyman supporters. Oh, here's an interesting one. Paul Heyman supporters continue to contact me as if I am the obstacle that's keeping him from joining the Federation creative team. I'm not. I want him on the team. Also, some have used their active imaginations to misinterpret I'll drink his Kool-Aid line as a negative. That flippant remark was not intended to be negative. I meant that I believe in Paul's creative ability and would fully support him joining our company. It's a very political thing to say. Let's see. Talks about Eddie Guerrero is probably at 75%, which is still better than most. Chris Benoit will be one of the biggest fan favorites in the Federation in 2001. Well, it's definitely been... Oh, Brian, you're going to love this one. Listen to this. Working with Jesse Ventura is much like I remembered from the days of yesteryear. Jesse is Jesse. Ooh.
How about that?
Yeah. Let's see. He goes, from what I'm told, the Haas brothers, Scott Vick, Steve Bradley, and perhaps Murray Hopper, that's one of the Dups, look to have the best chance to advance the primary roster in the next few months. I'd like to get Taz more in-ring time. My intuition tells me that will happen. It's better off for Taz if he doesn't, but people
just
don't
like
know
last
that yet.
night.
Yep. X-Pac looks rested and ready to resume his career. I hope he can remain injury-free. There's a creative piece missing, and he needs to improve his verbal skills, but I love his work. Mick Foley will be in Dallas at a car show Saturday. He will not be returning to the ring anytime soon, and that includes WrestleMania. That's news.
Huh.
That's real news.
He actually looked trimmed down last night.
Yeah, because I do expect to see Mick back on television in the future. Mick's time is being occupied with his 3 children and his writing. A new Mick Foley book is on the horizon. Yep, sure is. Dean Malenko returns Sunday. We'll face Jerry Lawler in Evansville, Indiana. Well, that'll be an easy match. Justin Credible will be in Evansville on Sunday against Kay Quick. Regal, his neck condition is improving. He's going to be going to Australia on March 21st to the 25th. Lee to spend a couple of days in Toronto. We knew about that. Raw's 90% sold out. Kansas City's for SmackDown is sold out. Expect roster cuts to begin soon.
Uh-oh.
Let the rampant speculation begin. Wow. WrestleMania.
Boss Man.
What?
Boss
Man,
Man's
yeah.
first on the list.
Yeah. WrestleMania, the official insider story, will be out soon. Several Federation superstars will be promoting this book on the history of WrestleMania beginning next month. I'm anxious to see it. So that means he hasn't read it. Wonder if that David Schultz story is going to be in there. Wow. Let's see. This is Jim Ross talking about what people say about him about the XFL, which I'm sure is not very pleasant. I'm sure you've heard, or I'm sure some of you may have heard on sports talk radio or TV or in your local newspaper, the rather stiff remarks some critics have made towards yours truly broadcasting of the XFL. I've heard and read, quote, what gives a wrestling announcer the right to broadcast football. Quote, he's not a bad wrestling announcer, but we all know what kind of people are involved in and follow wrestling. I really could give a damn what these folks think of my football broadcasting. I have had some experience with the game and consider myself a huge fan of football. I will continue to prepare to do the very best I can every Saturday night on NBC for the XFL, but what pisses me off are the shots these elite members of the media take on our fans. These assumptions are those of insecure, ignorant people who think we are all misguided, bad human beings for being fans of the business we love. Whew. How do you like that? I greatly admire and respect the fans of our business and always will feel sorry and, quite frankly, for those in the media who cannot relate to our fans' passion for our product. Critique and criticize me all you want because I can take it, but please do not crucify our fans in such an unjust, uneducated, unwarranted fashion. They don't deserve this kind of treatment. So, anyway, that's Jim Ross. We'll talk more about that in a little while. Jim Hurd, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
So what do you think of all this, the politics of wrestling?
I thought Ross did a pretty good play-by-play job on football. I mean, he handled the play he can't help the talent that much. No, but I think Jesse Ventura should have probably, you shouldn't fight with the NFL. I mean, why even try? So. You're not on at the same time of year. If anything, you should embrace the NFL's players and hope they come to your games and you gain something by association. with them. But that's their bag, and it's not a very good football product, although I do like some of their innovations in it, as far as having to run kickoffs back instead of downing them, and having to field punts without fair catching. I think some of those things add to the excitement of the overall game. But it's a tough road on Saturday night, even with Saturday night for television being as bad as it is. I mean, if Texas Ranger, Walker Texas Ranger, can last all this time on Saturday night television, that tells you that the fare overall is really bad.
Do you think it's going to make it?
It'll make it if they can get the ratings to satisfy the advertisers. I understand they're promising a 10, and they're not getting it. And that's just an accumulated 10, the same way we used to sell, and the same way Vince sells. I mean, they promise a number, and if you don't make it, then you try to make it up another